In this video, I'm going to discuss to you the language used in academic texts. We will use this module as source of our discussion. What is an academic language? Academic language is the language used by students to do most paperwork at school. Examples: essays, critique or review of a certain book or movie, lab reports, or discussions of a controversial issue. What are the goals for learning academic language? One is to further develop students' academic language abilities. First ability is the use of inferential language. You know how to hide your true meaning using symbolisms or clues in your sentences. From the pool of wide array of vocabulary, you can be able to pick which ones you will need the most. And through that, you can be able to stir the imagination of your readers. Another one is the ability to use a narrative language. You can clearly describe a series of events and be able to communicate about ideas across different contexts or settings. And of course, the ability to understand a range of academic vocabulary and grammatical structures. Sometimes I find it really amazing to see a student who has a wide range of vocabulary and be able to understand even words with deep meaning. And be able to understand sentences, even though structured in the most uncommon way. So aside from developing academic language abilities, its goal is also to, if we need to use professional and academic language in academic texts, we need to consider these 5 aspects: formality, objectivity, explicitness, structure, and caution. When we say formality, it should reflect dignified stance in writing as a member of the academic community. In academic writing, we need to make sure that we follow these rules. First, we must use expanded modal forms. Second, we need to use expanded terms, not contraction, and avoid colloquial expressions. Use expanded modal forms. Modal verbs are auxiliary verbs, also called helping verbs. Examples of these are can, will, could, shall, must, would, might, and should. When asked to use expanded modal forms, it means that we need to spell it out. So instead of writing can't, you write cannot. Instead of using couldn't, you use could not. Instead of saying it's, you write it is. Instead of shall, you write she will. And instead of using would have, you write would have. Use expanded terms, not contraction. Contractions are mostly used to simplify common pronoun or verb combinations. We use apostrophe to do this. An apostrophe means a letter, or sometimes letters are being omitted. Although contractions are used in daily conversations, it is generally considered too informal for academic writing. That is why it is always recommended to always write out the full words instead. For example, instead of saying there's, you write there is. Instead of should have, you write should have. Instead of there, you write they are. Sure, it's okay to use contractions in an informal setting like daily conversations, but if you'll be doing an academic writing, make sure to avoid it. Another thing to avoid is the use of colloquial expressions or colloquialism. Colloquialism is the use of informal words, phrases, or even slang in a piece of writing. Examples of these are, hey, what's up? I'm gonna get that. Where are you going? Where are you at? We also need to avoid conversational language such as cliches and idioms. In academic writing, the author must be impersonal and maintain a certain level of social distance. First rule is to avoid using personal pronouns. Personal pronoun is a short word we use as a simple substitute for a proper name of a person. Another is to avoid rhetorical question. This is a question that doesn't need an answer. You may hear it in a speech. The speaker may start from asking a question like, "Do you ever wonder why I became successful?" Certainly, the speaker doesn't need an answer from the audience. Rather, he only wants to catch their attention. Another is avoid emotive language. Emotive language is a word or phrases meant to evoke an emotional response to a subject. To be objective, we need to follow these rules. Being explicit means being clear. In academic writing, an author may use signposts to allow readers to trace the relationships in the parts of a paper. The readers may find it easy to follow when signposts are used by the author. Signposts are words or phrases that help articulate the structure of a piece of writing. Examples are first, second, having considered that, because of this, as a result, and so on. Signposting flags the most important parts of an argument, signal transitions, and clarify the stakes of an argument. In structure, our focus is to avoid redundancy by creating more nouns. Also, it is helpful if we write sentences using passive voice. I will explain this further in my next video. We also need to be cautious. And how should we do it? Avoid sweeping generalizations. Before saying that politicians are corrupt officials, there must be a definite investigation which had led to such. We need to avoid sweeping generalizations as to increase the validity of our paper, so that we will increase the chances that our work will hold up against the scrutiny of fact-checking. So before writing your generalization, before claiming that something is true, you have enough evidence to support your claim. Now let us sum it up. 5 aspects of professional and academic language used in academic texts. Formality, objectivity, explicitness, structure. Always remember to be formal and objective. Use formal language and do not be influenced by emotions and opinions. Think of the structure to use and make sure to use signposts. Avoid hasty generalizations and always provide support to claims. Now, let us check your understanding. Which excerpt follows the 5 aspects of professional and academic language? Write your answer and your explanation in the comment section below.